Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Rick McAvoy. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're well. This week on my blog, I'm talking about a photo of the interior of a brand new dome in a lovely old English church. Well, why not? I'm a photographer after all, and I've decided that I want to write more about my photos. Now, I have said this quite a lot recently, so here I am. And I'm starting with an architectural photo taken for a client architect some years ago. Now, obviously this is YouTube, so you can't see the photo. It is on the thumbnail, but if you go to rickmcavoyphotography.com, you will find the blog post and the photo, and also I've included the raw image, unedited, that I took lying on my back, and also the church itself from the outside, which is nice. So what is the photo? Well, the photo shows the interior of the new dome in Chideock Catholic Church in Dorset. The dome was in need of replacement, and the architect came up with a wonderfully detailed new dome with a stunning tiled exterior and this even more stunning domed interior, which I feel privileged to have been given the opportunity to photograph. And I really mean that. You go into buildings and you see things, and I'm so fortunate that I get to spend time in places. Buildings that people don't get to. I get to go in and see all this good stuff, which if you're into stuff like this, like I am, it's a brilliant thing to be able to do. So the photo itself, that's there. The before photo. So before the edit, the unedited raw image, that's in the blog post, as is a picture of the church, so you can see the context. So a bit of technical info. Well, the photo was taken with a Canon 6D and a Canon 17-40mm lens using my go-to 17mm focal length. ISO 3200. Yes, 3200. Aperture f8. Shutter speed a 1/20th of a second. And the camera was handheld, and I'll get on to that. So I just want to talk about the camera settings for this one, really. The first photo I took was, and I don't remember this, it's a few years ago now. The first photo I took was using an ISO of 100, f8 and a 2-second exposure. And it's not that bad, to be honest with you. You'd expect it to be as blurry as anything, because I was taking these photos handheld, lying on my back, and I needed a faster shutter speed to get a sharp photo. So I know my Canon 6D inside out. This is why it's important that you know what you can push your camera to. So I pushed my ISO to 3200, which gave me a shutter speed of 1/20th of a second. With f8, my favourite aperture for quality, and I used AV mode, or aperture priority mode, to take the photo. Now, when I say I took the photo handheld, that's sort of true. I think it's fairer to say that it was face held, because I was lying on my back on a very cold stone floor. It was March time. Very cold floor, and I had my camera pressed to my eye. I was quite literally, my camera was on my face, and I just moved it so I got the composition about right, and then I took the photo. And if you look at the before photo, the unedited photo on the blog post, it's geometric. It's it's geometrically all over the place. It needs some work, and that had to be sorted. Now, if I was doing this again, there's a trick that I missed here. I was trying to capture the whole thing, the columns and the dome itself. But the photo that I published is just the dome. So if I was doing this again, I had just photographed the dome, and I could have my camera on a tripod, rock solid, use a self-timer. I could have taken a photo with a 30-second exposure, and it would have been absolutely fine. But that's what photography is. There's learning in everything that we do. Every day's a school day. So what I am happy with, so I used an ISO of 3200, and there was no camera shake because I was lying very still with the camera resting on my face. So I guess my face was a sort of tripod, a one-dimensional tripod is about here. But one remarkable thing, there's very little noise in the shadows taking a photo at that ISO with the Canon 6D, which isn't the most modern of cameras, is it? It's a few years old now, but another point this proves is you don't need a brand new camera to take great photos. The Canon 6D, I bought it in 2014, 2015, something like that, and it was a great camera then, but it still is now. Just because it's old doesn't mean it isn't. Processing. How did I process it? Well, I corrected the distortion in Lightroom. That was it. And using the transform panel, and that gave me the crop. I use crop and transform together to get the image right. And in Photoshop, I removed the black bits, which you can see on the original photo, which are damaged from a leak after the works were complete. And that's it. That was it. There wasn't much processing. So that's all I want to say, really. I'm not going to talk just to fill up time on YouTube. There's no need for me to do that. So I hope you like the photo. Please check out my blog post. Have a look at it. Let me know what you think. Give me a comment. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Drop me an email, sales@rickmcavoyphotography.co.uk. And one last shameless plug. Check out my splendid Photography Explained podcast, available on all good podcast providers. And it has its own website, photographyexplainedpodcast.com. Okay, I'm done. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. I hope that you're well, like I say. And I hope that you'll come back to see what I've got to offer next week, or head over to my YouTube channel and check out all the good stuff there. Thanks for watching. Cheers from me, Rick.